taken a picture of your drawing and it is, if you've airplayed it to your or airdropped it to yourself, it's probably in your downloads folder. So you know where it's at. Maybe you emailed it to yourself. Maybe you threw it in a Google Drive folder for yourself. You can get it to yourself any of those ways. Once you've taken the picture and you know where it's at, you go File, Place, and you find your picture and you hit Place. So that's how you insert an image into an Illustrator document. So notice it's super big compared to our document. So we can scale this down. I'm just going to do Command minus, and I'm going to grab a corner, but make sure to hold the Shift key so it doesn't distort. If I don't hold the Shift key, it gets all distorted. Okay, and I'm just going to bring it up here, make it a little bit smaller yet. And then Command 0 is, Command 0 fits it back in the window. So also notice it's not the right orientation. I have a couple ways I can twist it. I can, go up to the corner and find the rotation tool, or I can double click the rotation tool over on the left here in the tool palette, and I can rotate it 90 degrees. So notice I have part of the table in the photo and there's a shadow in the photo. If you can avoid taking a picture with any shadows, that will really help when you go to trace it here in Illustrator. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go up to Image Trace. So I have to select my photo. So use the black arrow to select it. And then from the drop down, there's all kinds of presets. For this project, I'm just going to convert it and we just have it in black and white. I could do either sketched art or black and white logo. Let's try black and white logo first and say okay. And you let it run its course. And notice that it traced the table and it traced the shadow and everything. Those are now objects that we can end up just deleting. So I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Before you hit expand, you might want to make some adjustments to it. So this little paper clipboard little icon is the image trace settings. You can either change the preset if you didn't like the way it looked and you want to switch to or try out sketched art. You can let that one run and see if that's any different. I'm going to do undo because I think I liked the logo one for this particular drawing. Your drawing might need a different sketch. You can adjust the threshold. So you can adjust, and every time you make a change, it has to run it. The threshold is going to show a little more detail. It picked up some little spots here, and I kind of like that. So you can play around with these settings and what looks best for your trace. And once you're done with that, you hit expand. And once you're happy with the way it looks, you hit expand up here at the top. And that vectorizes your drawing. So now you have a digital drawing. It's no longer made of pixels. It's made of vectors. And I need to erase some stuff. So I'm going to take my white arrow so I can directly select some of these objects and just hit delete on my keyboard. And I'm just going to click and drag and it'll select anything in that box. Hit delete, delete. Maybe some stuff down here, and then up here, I'm going to click and drag, and again, it selects anything inside that selection box. Delete, delete. There's a little more stuff there. I got to be very careful not to select any of the actual drawing. So I'm just getting rid of these anchor points that are kind of just scattered throughout. If I zoom in really close, I can see there's a couple little spots here. You can just do single clicks too. All right, so that looks pretty clean. So if I do Command A, it's got only my objects selected. Now this is an opportunity to move some things around. When I take my black arrow and I select, it selects the whole thing. So I can object and ungroup them so that each separate object is now selectable as a separate piece, but maybe I want to shuffle some things around. Maybe I want to take, I'm going to grab my black arrow and select somewhere on the black of the baseball bat. Maybe I even want to change the way it looks. You could move stuff around, okay? Now to colorize it, I'm going to take my white arrow and I'm going to select the objects, and I can change the colors of them. But maybe I want more than one. I can definitely take my black arrow and select and just make them all the same color at the same time. I can also, if I wanted this little white outline here, I can change that to have a fill. Okay, I can also play around with outlines. So let's say this is a fill, and over here I've got a purple fill. I can make the outline blue if I wanted. So you could definitely add some outlines to create some more character or interest. So really it's all about just playing around. Now, some of you, when you go to colorize it, your color palette may have disappeared. So let's say all you have is black and white as options to fill. If you click on your swatches palette and it only has black and white, it means through the image trace feature, somehow it switched the color mode of the document. If you go up to document color mode, make sure it's CMYK and RGB. You also have the option to, if you click on your swatches palette and click this little drop down, you can open lots of other swatch libraries. So let's say you want to go with some earthy tones. There's already palettes kind of put together for you. So you can just pull up one of those palettes to start applying color. The default is in here as well. If you go to default swatches, you can view the RGB swatches. So these are all the palettes that we just chose from that drop down. From there, just play around until you have the color kind of set the way you want it to be. And then you'll save it as a JPEG. So File, Export. And you are going to save it to your digital design folder that you created. And again, call it, always include your name in the file name, always. R. Paulson, hand drawn. Just say hand drawn, and then from the drop down, JPEG, and then you can export it and make sure you know where you're exporting it to, because you'll upload that file to Canvas. And that's it.